Hi, everybody. We're back for another session of In the Black, and I'm Janelle Jones, and this is my co host.
I'm Trio, y'all. What up?
Guys, I am so excited today. I just hyped myself all the way up, so I'm ready for this discussion because it's a doozy.
Let
We got some stories for you, and we like giving it
me go grab my pencil.
to you. Not the notebook already, we
Already.
just started.
Oh man. Let's go.
So today we're going to discuss where did we go wrong? What business mistakes did we make? So you guys can learn from our mistakes, and maybe you can, or maybe you've already made them and you can relate to our stories because we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. Entrepreneurship is the toughest thing after motherhood. I'm going to say for me, a toughest thing I've ever done. So first is motherhood because that ain't no, you know what, but we're gonna talk about entrepreneurship. We ain't gonna get into motherhood today.
Listen. I already started writing mistakes. Oh man. Okay.
So I don't know. I'm gonna try to think of some stories because I've done some doozies in business. I spent a lot of money on my business over the years. I've made a lot of mistakes. But I think the one that most people can relate to is hiring the wrong business coach. So I have worked with various different coaches, and they have been the wrong coach for me. Just and when I say the wrong coach, great people, they just couldn't get my business where I wanted to go, and I didn't ask the qualifying questions. So when I didn't ask the qualifying questions, I got something that was not what I expected, and I also didn't put in the work myself to say what I wanted out of the sessions. Because before I got on the calls, I should have said, okay, these are my goals. Can you help me get to these goals? Then it would have been on me. So it was a two-part blame for this, that it was not a fit. So I should have qualified them more and came prepared for what I wanted out of my money being spent and invested in these people, invested in my business. So that's the first big mistake one of the big mistakes that I've made. And I spent quite a bit of money on these sessions and really didn't get much out of it.
Mm. I can agree with that. The minute you said that, this was early on in my business when I first went into my first co-working space. So I had like this 36 square feet office. Couldn't tell me nothing. I was on the 16th floor though, and all I could fit was a desk and a chair. And I was like, I just need to get out of the house. I want to actually feel like a business owner. I want to be in the ecosystems with business owners, and that was really, really great. Around that time, I had a client that was paying a really good four-figure amount, and this was my first time going to that price point. At that same time, though, a business coach, like, on her photo on Instagram, and she had like a very powerful pose, and I was just like, "Girl, you are pop, pop, pop." And so she got to know me, and then she was like, "So how much is this client bringing in?" And I shared with her. And so when I gave her that amount that I was about to make, the coaching was taking that payment away because I was so excited to have a brand coach. And then I would say the mistake of hiring her was hiring somebody who was in my field. So
Mm.
it was just like working with somebody who is in the same thing that I'm in. It's no longer coaching. It's not the same. It's like I'm giving her my system and I'm not getting anything in return. So I found that I was overqualified by my standard, but she thought that I was just somebody who was just so happy go lucky, just this and that, somebody who she could get over with, and I fired her. And she was like, "Oh, you throw in virtual hands." I'm like, "No, I'm just real." So that was the mistake, is telling the coach that about that project, allowing myself to be manipulated because I was so excited to have my first business coach, and the person wasn't qualifiable as well. So that was like my first attempt at trying to do business the right way.
That is a big deal for me. Like qualifying somebody, like, how do you know how much money people make, right? because they'll tell you I made half a million this last year. I made $1 million last year. Well, how do you really know what these people make? What I feel like is people that are not actually out flaunting what they make is actually the people that are making money. It's the silent sleepers. I saw a post, I think I told Trielle, I saw a post the other day, somebody posted, and they're a wealth coach, and they were like, the minimum now is to have $10,000 in savings. Well, I read through all the comments, and people who I thought would have this amount of money in savings were like, oh, that's gonna help. That's gonna be a while. I don't know. That seems tough. I just, and I was shocked. I was literally mind blown because I've seen these people posting. They're posting high ticket amounts. They're people are commenting. You're thinking that they're making this money, but in all honesty, there's no way that they're making this level of money if they don't have $10,000 saved. They're just not. There's no way that you can. Your expenses cannot be that high with the level of money that you're charging. They're charging 10 to 15 to $20,000 for a website, but they don't have $10,000 that for one website. That doesn't make any sense. So the numbers are just not adding up. So when you use your discernment when you're hiring people, don't just jump because they have beautiful branding. They have beautiful photos. They're taking a picture in front of a nice house and a nice car. Forget the materialistic things and let's get down to the nitty gritty of business. What do their profits look like? What does their overhead look like? Do they have a team? Are they paying out? Is their team happy? Can you speak to a team member and they're giving you great, they're getting paid on time regularly? These
Mm.
are the things that you want to know. Do your due diligence when you're hiring somebody because this is your money. This is your business that you're investing into somebody. I don't care if it's $100, 500, whatever it is, $10,000. Do some research on somebody. Who have they worked with? Can they give you a testimonial? Can they get? I saw somebody posted and said, "Hey, has somebody taken such and such program with such and such such?" This was in a whole nother group that the other person was not into. They wouldn't know the people are asking about them. They were like, "Yeah, it was great. It was great. This is what I got out of it." That's the type of stuff you want. You don't want somebody. You don't want where you're posting and they say, "Oh my God, don't do it. Run."
Yeah. Oh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm tickled. Oh my gosh. Like I'm just tickled because um I'll share this story. I'll share this story. I recently worked with a coach, a high level executive coach who was coming to me for marketing this coaching.
Mhm.
And the word that he gave me, because he was way, I won't say outside of my realm, I just didn't have a solution for him. I'm like, I'm used to building brands. I'm making that person either the focal point of the brand, or we're making the company out loud, like building a out loud strategy so that you can get coaching. And so I shared with him some of the individuals that I worked with, and he was like, I looked at all their websites. That's not me. I don't like the flashy. I see they're posing pictures with these celebrities, and he was like, that's just not me. I don't have the need to do that. He was like, my numbers speak for itself. I have worked and have received billions and work with individuals who sell their companies for like 100 million and these types. So he was like, my numbers speak for themselves. I do not want to be an out loud brand. I said, so I have to become a sniper for you. I have to be able to find those individuals for you without being out loud, out all of these different things. And I was like, wow. He's like, well, I'm going to leave you with this. There's two scenarios. One is like a mouse. Two is a mouse or mice? Two mice.
Mice for more than
Mice.
one.
Oh yeah, more than one. So two mice are dropped in a bucket of cream, right?
Mhm.
And he was like, the mice are fighting to try to come out of this bucket, and the mice number one, or mouse one, was like, I give up. It's liquid. I'm tired. I've exhausted all of my efforts. I'm deflated. I'm just going to take the L and die. And the mice number two, I guess, was like, no, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I won't give up. I won't give up. Well, that cream eventually turned into butter. It became solid. It became the stepping stool to get out. And he was like, which one are you? And I'm like, I'm not gonna give up. I can't give up. I was like, right now you are. I feel something I haven't done before, but it's somebody that I'm willing to become. And when that time is right, we'll work together. So I had to be able to be like, I seen the bigger room. I seen the coach who don't charge, who charges a lot of money, but is not out here on social media looking like a like or an as. They're not trying to be out here with all the material. As a matter of fact, his profile picture is so basic, and you would look at it like, oh, he ain't, no, but like not a lot of engagement on his posts, but this man is the real deal. So I saw what that side, and I was just like, that's the person I need. That's who I want in my circle. That's who I now have access to converse with. And it's just like, wow. It was a, how they say, like a paradigm shift, you know what I'm saying? But it just really shifted my
Hmm.
mindset to finding the right coach. So I know we led with the example of a mistake we had hiring coaches that didn't work for us. There is somebody out there that's working for you. Research, due diligence, asking the right questions. You'll find them. Don't let your aesthetics and your, I'll say, your flesh get in the way. Like she said, use discernment to find the person who's going to connect and work well for you. So that's it.
I love that. That again is the silent sleeper. That man is a silent sleeper. There's people out here
Girl.
that are making money that you don't look like they're making money. I'm telling you, but they are making money, and those are the people that you want to connect with. Those are the people that you want to mentor you. We spoke about mentorship. Those are the people that you want to be able to hire. And remember that you are the average of the five people that you talk to all the time, right? So you want to increase your average. That means that you want to increase the caliber of people that you're around. It's not necessarily about money, it's about caliber, it's about potential, it's about network. So building that up. Another mistake that I would like to talk about is making sure that you have the correct strategy for your business. This is how I want to put it.
Okay.
So when you when you start a business, you're just throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? You're just throwing spaghetti and you don't know what you're doing. I want you to sit and stay steady and say, okay, what am I really doing? Let me look at somebody who's doing what I want to do, who's making the money I want to make, who is at the space that I want to be at, and model what they're doing. Try it out. Your business is not going to be like their business though, because you're not them. But you want to be able to learn from what they're doing instead of just doing random things. And I think that for me was a big deal. Like I was just doing anything random thing too much before I got to the point that I am now. So I was dividing myself too thin,
Mm-hmm.
trying to do everything and nothing at the same time.
So my rebuttal for that is, um, one of the mistakes I've made for my business, because I'm a creative and a designer. I would always change my website. I would try different platforms. I tried a WordPress platform. Would look
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
SEO purposes. I tried Wix editor. Then I moved my now website to Wix Studio, and like shifting it, thinking that if I make it look more techy, if I make it look more creative, if I make it look like everything that is currently out here in these creative streets as an agency, if I look like them, I'll have that same kind of response, right? And that was incorrect. I realize now that it's better to just go lean and have the systems in place to be able to gain more conversation. The website, even though it's a big engine, it's how you play it. So I started like selecting pages. I stopped making all the pages available and just like, okay, what we've got to do is do one big landing page. And if you want to learn more information, this is the process, this is the system. Contact us. Go however it's gonna go, because I realize you don't need all of that. And I was making the mistake to try to always stay on trend and stay on brand instead of just making something evergreen. So,
No, I agree. I did the same thing. I get software FOMO, fear of missing
I
out.
love that.
So, so I'm like,
Like, that's a good way to
ooh,
say it.
yeah, there's a new software out. There's a new email. I've got to switch to this new email marketing software because it's beautiful. I've got to switch. And then I've got to pay or take my time to rebuild that whole system all over again because I'm struggling with FOMO.
Mm,
Don't do that.
yes. Y'all.
You are after building your business, you're after making money. It doesn't matter what software you're using. If you get to the point where it's like, okay, I see this software, there's four different softwares. When you get to the point where you can hire somebody and you're like, okay, this software I need to change because it does text messaging. I need email marketing, but I also need text messaging now. Okay, that's a valid reason to change.
Yeah.
But just to change from one email to another email software, don't do it. Just stick with what you have and build your business. Focus on one thing at a time in your business.
Because let's be honest, they all say the same thing, anyways. And we know because we rock with MailChimp and Constant Contact, just as email marketing alone. I've played with Clavio, all these other email things, and I always want to go for the one that gives me most creative control. But I'm going to be honest, people don't care about that. I've seen a
Mm-hmm.
system where someone was using a Canva website dang near 6 figures just from having a Canva website with some backlinks. I've also understood the power of an interactive PDF, right? Using Adobe, like you could really make money without having all the bells and whistles. And I was just telling you this yesterday, Janelle. Like I am like Patrick. If I see a butterfly, ooh, look at that butterfly. I'm gonna follow it and I'm gonna obsess over a thing and then on to the next. But what that did was give me a variety of things that I'm capable of doing and understanding. But again, going back to being lean and niched in a certain thing, you don't need all of that. So one of the business mistakes is do not invest in all of the shiny things. All right. Use the platform, maximize the platform, and let growth lead you out.
Oh, I like that. Let growth lead you out. I think that's
Yeah.
a quotable.
Yeah.
That's good. Let growth lead you out. And so what that means is that once you get to a certain you've maxed out the capabilities, the services, the benefits of using this particular thing, then you need to move on and up level yourself, right? I love that. That's beautiful. That's a
Yeah, that was
quotable.
good.
Tap yourself on the back.
Woo!
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I want to discuss because all of these things, like they're annoying, right? They've cost us money, they've cost us time, but they are lessons, right? So
Mhm.
you want to take your lessons and you want to learn from them. That you can say, okay, you can want to take your failures. I'm sorry, take your failures and make them into lessons, right? So we have, okay, you hired the wrong coach. Okay, but now I know that I need to have a list. What do I need? What do I get out of this if I'm going to invest my money into it?
Mhm.
Okay, so I know that that's a lesson that I learned from this failure that I had. So any failure that you have, take it and turn it into a lesson. Take a negative into a positive.
Let's talk
Okay.
about one of the failures that I had recently, right?
Yeah.
So, one failure in business that taught me how to grow and level up and have an SOP was I had a lead that came to my website and
Mm.
I answered the phone on a Friday when I use Fridays as a me day. Like this is my work on the business day. This is also working on me. Like no clients, no posting, no none of that. And I decided to pick up the phone call on a Friday before working hours. It's like 8:30 something. And when I answered the phone, the client came through, but she sounded like spam. Mind you, I have been getting a lot of spam calls working with this particular phone number. I'm using Zoom phone right now as a system, giving that a chance. and I was getting a lot of spam calls. So when this individual comes in, um, and was giving me spammy vibes, I hung up. And lo and behold, she was an actual lead. And so when I did my due diligence to research and I saw that she filled out my forms and everything, I called her back and I gave her a really sincere apology. Like, I'm sorry you was giving spammy vibes. Not in those words, but a little bit more professional. And she was like, I understand, but I don't appreciate that you hung up on me and I'm taking my business elsewhere. Lesson learned was, okay, if I'm going to answer the phone for my business at any other time, at any given time, let me create a SOP on how I should have the phone call, how I should have the conversation, how I could have taken control of the conversation, and remember that this is a business line instead of putting my personal self. So what I did was create a SOP, a guide on how I want to answer the phone call. Hi, this is Tria from Tag Branded. How may I help you, sir or ma'am? I took that from the military because that's how we used to answer the phone. And then making sure that I give qualifying questions to process down the funnel than just talking to someone on the phone who is asking me a ton of questions and it's overwhelming me. I hung up. So that's one of the mistakes that I made, answering the phone first of all, but also remembering to come up with a call script. There we go. Script. There we go. Call script. So I shared that with Janelle, and she was like, "Girl, this is a business line." Da, 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 da. I was like, I know." But anyway, continue.
I heard some things. Let's translate that from a failure to a lesson.
Yes,
First, I heard boundaries. Let's keep our boundaries in place. Where we talked about setting up business boundaries, and
yes,
that was your boundary that you don't take calls on Fridays, you don't answer before business hours. So that was two boundaries broken right there. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson is that you have to remember that that was a business line. So you are going to get weird random calls. And we never know what those calls are going to turn into. For example, I have people that tell me all the time, I don't answer numbers that I don't know. I'm answering everybody that calls my phone. I don't care who it is. Trust me, I'm answering the phone because I don't know who's calling. Hello? You've won $1 million. I don't know if I'm about to get that phone call.
you're right. You're right.
For real. I don't know. It might be. And I'm gonna play it out all the way. It may be a scam, yeah, but I might have won $1 million. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Okay. Then the other thing is now you have a system in place. The next lesson is systemize your processes. No matter what, everything you do needs to have a system. This process of us talking every day has a system in place, right? We have a process that we go through every time we talk to each other. So
Yeah.
answering the phone now has a system for you in place, right? And then
Mhm.
the last thing is your mindset, keeping an open mind to the opportunities that are available to you, that are coming to you in the most unique ways. What Trielle is not telling you, what the biggest thing that came out of this, she's not telling you the biggest thing that came out of this story, the situation that where you can turn a failure into a positive. Trielle has a system set up where people have to fill out an intake form. And when they fill out the intake form, they tell what their budget is, they tell what type of project they're looking for, and they tell where they found out about Trielle. I want you guys to take a second and guess where this lady said that she found Trielle. I'm gonna give a second because you're never gonna guess this. The lady says, and Trielle forwarded me her intake form. The lady says that AI told her to call Trielle, that she was the right person for Trielle. AI. And Trielle is saying that this is a business failure.
Yeah.
That is amazing that
Yes.
AI is now recommending Trielle for clients. She has talked to Trielle so much and told him what she does and how she's amazing at it. He sees that and he refers her, or her refers Trielle to this client.
Yeah. That
So
is a
I don't
big
see that.
win.
That's a business win win win.
Yes.
It's not a business failure. So remember, everything is about perspective.
True. True. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, like what? Ah! Yeah, that had me very, very excited. It's like, yo, I'm doing something right. And as something as simple as a phone call, not having that system, was like, dang, we want to make sure that we tighten up on all aspects. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. So, um, yeah, that was a big win for real. Having AI give me as the best candidate for her. And I was just like, listen, I wish you the best on your journey. And if the doors remain, my doors will always remain open for you. So if you have to come back, trust me, I'll be there for you. She was cool with it. She's still on her journey, and I'm just hoping, all road leads back to Tiger Brandon. Stop playing.
I love it. I love it. Um, I think it's a good time to transition into a power play. Is there anything else you want to add before we go to power plays,
Nah, we
trio?
good. Let's go to the power play.
Power play. um, I would like for you to do what we just did for trio. That's my power play today. I would like for you to take, oh, this is something that I hated that I did. This is a failure that I had in my business. And I would love for you to turn it into a business win. What did you learn from it? How can you grow? What SOP can you set up so you can avoid this in the future? Like for me, it was the coaching. Now I have the list, the checklist. Or do you work online? Do you work with online businesses? Let me see a recent marketing plan. Like all of these things that I've set up. So what can you set up so that you can have a plan so that you avoid this mistake in the future? I want you to take some time and implement those changes. So, like I said, creating the SOP, setting up the barriers so that this doesn't happen again. And then I want you to bounce this off of a friend. I want you to get on the phone with a friend, somebody who's in business, preferably like a business bestie. If you don't have one, get you one.
Period.
Okay. And tell them this is the problem that I had and this is the solution that I came up with. What do you think I'm missing? What holes are in this plan so that I don't avoid this in the future? Talk through it with them, let them give you the ideas, take the feedback, take the criticism well, and go back and revise your plan all over again. And do that for every failure that you've had. I would personally do that so that you can create those processes. Because remember, the long term goal is that somebody, you can hire people, you can give your team this information so that you can continue to grow.
I have nothing to add. That was point blank in the period.
Yay! um, guys, I want you to know that there are no mistakes in business. There are only lessons that you can learn from all of the things that you're doing. And you are human. Just remember that. Give yourself all the grace that you possibly can. Nobody is perfect out here.
Mm. And until next session in the black, you know what I'm saying? I'm Triel,
And I'm Janelle. Have a
and
great
we'll see
day.
y'all. Peace.
Bye.